those who are creating applications about different elements, different problematics. And so it is definitely an added value, because a potential user out there is able to discover the variety of applications that are available from multiple knowledge providers and multiple sources. So to the OGC speaker, I understand there is an OGC speaker. We really encourage you to get in touch with the Geo Knowledge Hub team to discuss about how the Geo Knowledge Hub can support on your exercise of interoperability. Yes, that's it.
Thank you very much, Paula. It was actually Igor from WMO who is working with.
Sorry, Igor.
Okay, there is actually someone from OGC in the room. Perfect. Let's go to the next speaker, and we'll have time for more discussion after that. So, Paula, can you reshare the screen, please? Thank you. So we'll go to another example, and this is the last presentation from Orestes. Yes, about the EO Toolkit for Sustainable Cities and Human Settlements. Over to you, Orestes.
Thank you, Florian. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here in Accra, in Ghana. Today, I will be talking about the Earth Observation Toolkit for Sustainable Cities and Human Settlements. It's quite a mouthful, so EO Toolkit in short. I won't be going into details on what the toolkit is all about, because it has been presented, for example, in GEO Week 2021. But I want more to focus on the way we are trying to approach potential users, and the fact that we share much of the Geo Knowledge Hub DNA, so our collaboration can help us engage with more users. Next slide, please. Okay, brief intro. So what is the EO Toolkit? It's an online knowledge resource. It was launched on February 2021. It's a collaboration between UN Habitat and the EO for SDG initiative. It's a portal which is handled by UN Habitat. It focuses on the so-called urban indicator, SDG goal 11. It comprises datasets, tools for monitoring or supporting particular SDG indicators. It also offers guidance documents and use cases of national or city level experiences of Earth observation implementations in supporting SDG 11. I have put here in bold stuff that we have already seen, for example, from Felipe's presentation, that are very similar or have a direct line to the Geo Knowledge Hub resources. The toolkit is driven by a vibrant toolkit community. I urge you to follow the URL and become part of this community that spans the globe. Next slide, please. Okay, a glimpse. On the left-hand side, you can see datasets. I know you can't see them, but if you go into the URL, you will see them. It's datasets and tools. We have a very nice filtering, tagging on the extreme left, which is a very nice way to get a quick understanding of the toolkit's content, and some highlights regarding the actual contents. We have the global human settlement layer from the Human Planet Initiative, actually, and JRC. As you may well know, SDG indicators are infamous for being sensitive to the city's extent and the population. So it's important to have these base layers, let's say, somehow clearly defined. So GHSL is a step in this direction. It also offers the GURBA tool, the degree of urbanization tool. It's a harmonized way across the globe, sanctioned by the UN statistics and OECD and Eurostat and a whole a lot of organizations, to offer a clear definition of what a city is. We have the PopGrid viewer that gives a quick understanding of the differences between population datasets, so that you can evaluate the values you may be getting using the same workflow but different population datasets. And the world settlement footprint is also a step in this direction regarding the city extent and actual all human settlement extent that goes back chronologically as well. And lastly, I just put one example of but I saw Yifang earlier. This is a calculator for SDG indicator 1131 regarding land use efficiency. Next slide, please. Okay, we are very proud of the compilation of the toolkit, but nevertheless, it is just a part of an ever-growing ecosystem of products and users. On the left, okay, it's not very visible now, but I just put two examples from Copernicus Land Monitoring Service that are not in the toolkit, but nevertheless, they are out there. In Europe, we have a huge R&D program called Horizon. So Horizon recently created the Horizon dashboard, and the idea of this dashboard is to understand out of the hundreds or even thousands of projects, what these projects have produced, including tools that are necessary for SDG 11 and cities. What I'm trying to say, it is hard to keep track of all these things that keep popping up. Even today, I found out for two more very interesting solutions, just saying. So if it's hard for us, the so-called experts, to keep track, it's double difficult for cities and the other stakeholders to know, just find or know what is out there that may be useful for their activities. So turning our eyes to the user, we have certain personas in mind in the toolkit, like ministerial personnel, urban planners, resilient officers, which is a growing trend, at least in the EU, statistical offices, and GIS experts. How we are reaching out to these personas? We have created the use cases I mentioned earlier, very detailed use cases, and we have put a lot of effort in communication and capacity building and technical workshops. These are some very big highlights of the previous year, the most recent being the World Urban Forum in June in Warsaw in Poland. And we have also put together, bottom right, the so-called one-pagers. So just to give a quick glimpse to users, how we approach certain SDG indicators. Next slide, please. And this is the core of my presentation. Despite all our efforts, everyone agrees that we have a way to go in engaging with cities. The user, in a nutshell, remains elusive. So what we want to do in the toolkit is to create a critical mass, a communication critical mass. This means that the EO toolkit will automatically come to someone's mind when he or she is thinking for an urban challenge. This is the strategic, the far-term goal. We are approaching this using a top-down approach. Of course, we have UN Habitat as integral part of the toolkit, but we are also reaching out to city networks such as ICLEI or even SDSN, hopefully. And the idea here is to push one good solution, one good use case in a particular city through a network of cities. We are also using a bottom-up approach through the toolkit's community, actual networks, and not personal networks, but the people we are already working with. We are reaching out to individual cities, city per city, need per need. In the toolkit, you can find two very good examples on this from Warsaw and Thessaloniki, where they have built a very pragmatic GIS portal, like an urban observatory, that it is powered by many of the toolkit's datasets and tools. We are always on the lookout for unexpected workflows. The GHL example, it falls under Copernicus Emergency Management Service, earthquakes, built-up areas in cities, how the population is distributed, etc. It's a super crucial base layer. We are routinely using it for air quality exposure. This was when we discussed this with Thomas Kemper, he was amazed. And this is a very good way forward, I think. Lastly, we are pursuing individual demonstrations with cities, while in parallel looking for funding mechanisms to support these implementations. And okay, so the user is it's our main target, let's put it like this. In our process, in this process, we have come to understand that the toolkit and GeoKnowledge Hub share much of the same DNA. There is a knowledge gap. Everyone agrees on this. Stakeholders, personas don't know what is out there. Everyone needs curation. It's one thing throwing a Jupyter notebook at someone and say good luck with that, and it's another thing to curate this information in order to create knowledge. Continuity is a big challenge because no city or statistical authority will adapt a solution that has a three-year lifespan, and this goes well with preservation. Trust is also hugely important because we are talking, for example, with a national statistical agency, and they say, okay, I really like this workflow and values you give out. What is the uncertainty? So reproducibility is key, both for the toolkit and the GeoKnowledge Hub. And replicability, because like I said earlier, we want to expand through to reach to many cities to replicate the use cases, the local use cases. And I cannot stress enough, like you said, just said earlier, about the openness and freeness of all data sets used and the workflows and software, etc., etc. Next slide, please. Thus, the EO Toolkit became a GeoKnowledge Hub knowledge provider. This exercise was recently concluded, the first integration, major integration. Right now we have 87 EO Toolkit entries, 10 of which are full knowledge packages. And on the left-hand side, Felipe showed this search capacity, but it's important for an unsuspecting user that may not be fully sure what he or she is looking for, to filter things through his or her persona. So we have six major types of personas. And lastly, the tagging of GEO engagement priorities and work package activities is also very important for GEO, I think. It's one thing going through the huge PDF and searching for stuff through control find, but it's another having clearly tagged GEO activities. Next slide, please. Yes, this is my final slide. Was the integration necessary? I would say it was optional, but going back to Paula's quote, I mean, garlic is optional in cooking, but in my sense, it's obligatory. So I think it was optional, but obligatory. Why? Because we think it will expand the audience through the GEO community, because GEO either way is looking at the GeoKnowledge Hub, is looking at the GEOS portal, either way it's looking at its activities. So we think it will expand the audience because let's say the toolkit has more city-oriented audience, but here there are opportunities like the out-of-the-box connection of air quality and GHSL I mentioned earlier. It will increase findability, both through the strong filtering capacities of the GeoKnowledge Hub, but also just by being on the GeoKnowledge Hub. It will increase trust through reproducibility and, of course, the GEO brand, which, at least in my mind, creates trust. And I have to say that during this integration process, the EO Toolkit people came closer to understanding the open knowledge paradigm, because the GeoKnowledge Hub has a very strong particular structure. So we had to conform our things that were halfway or perhaps even more than halfway there, like I said in the beginning with the bold components of the toolkit. We had to confirm, and this I think brought us closer to the open knowledge paradigm. I should also add that we have more work to do. There are some duplicates, so Felipe, we should look into them to delete them and create more linkages, because another powerful component of the GEO Knowledge Hub is the different tags and connections you have within the GEO Knowledge Hub, knowledge packages and knowledge resources. So I think there is more work to do there. And of course, add other materials such as the fair analysis that has been carried forth by Laurent from Durie, forgive the pronunciation, and the learn paths that are being produced by Esri for some of the toolkit's components. And thank you for your attention. At your disposal for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Orestes, for that great presentation. And I think it gives really another. Oh. Is it better? Yes. Okay. And I think one point that you emphasized, maybe Paula, can you come back to the last slide of Orestes, please? Is the integration and the possible links between different work program activities or GEO initiatives. This is something that will be very critical in the next GEO work program phase, where we'll be looking at integrating different activities into common projects about different what we call incubators, or at least integration activities on heat and health, on marine litter and other things. And we have already examples in the GEO Knowledge Hub of one activity actually using existing resources from another activity that were shared through the GEO Knowledge Hub. So we increased the trust and the interoperability and usability of the resources within the work program. We have time for a couple of questions. Are there any questions to the presenters in the audience, please? Yes. Okay. So, okay. So everybody can speak.
Thank you. It was very nice to hear this presentation, and I must say that it's nice that you mentioned that it takes time to integrate things. So it's not just, you have the package and you just upload it, right? So it does take time. And you said that for you, it's beneficial because you will increase the audience and it is increase the trust and so forth. So my question is not really to you, just to say that it was nice that you said that, but to the Knowledge Hub or to the Secretariat. So who actually becomes knowledge providers? How do you do any triage of this? Because you say that if you are a knowledge provider, that means that it may increase the trustability of your data or your package. So if I want to become a knowledge provider, what do I do?
Thank you. So as I said before, we're really open to all suggestions. Of course, as it's a GEO initiative, the primary target is the work program activities. But of course, we have seen other examples. And it's actually also a tool that we're starting to use to bring more people into GEO work program activities that want to share what they do. And they have a place here where they can at least start on a common basis and show what they do. And if this is relevant to an activity, they're welcome by the team. I see Paula, do you want to say something on that?
Yes, no, absolutely, Florian. You covered it perfectly. Let's say the initial target are GEO work program activities, but we're starting also to welcome knowledge and applications from partners outside, and everybody can become a knowledge provider. Definitely, that's there is no doubt about that. The curation part is very important, because what we want is that every application or knowledge package and its related knowledge resources within the GEO Knowledge Hub are really of curated by the knowledge provider. And so we do sort of one-to-one training at the very beginning. And this is what has happened with Samantha, for example, who really very nicely presented today her experience as a knowledge provider.
Another question from Igor.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. On the last slide, you put merge nomenclatures. It's about ontologies. So you're developing ontologies. So how it works?
No, we are not developing. We are not developing ontologies explicitly. Perhaps some solution is, but I don't know this. What I'm saying is that, for example, I mentioned 6 major type of personas in the GEO Knowledge Hub. I merged it to create the number 6 because actually it's like 10 or 11, but there are many similarities between some types. So I just merged them under bigger types. This I mean by merging nomenclatures, because terminology definition is not only regarding city extent or so on, but it's also between what we, it's like a language barrier, but not like the one you mentioned, because everybody is thinking of something, but they use a different name for this. So there is work to do even within the GEO Knowledge Hub to merge things and do them as universal as possible.
Yeah, but for this you need to have a controlled vocabulary. So you create something. It's also part of knowledge, because I understand, for example, in water level is also stage. It's livello in Italian. I mean, if they are related, it's a knowledge, because the somebody who access data in same language but using different term can understand what is about, because it's linked. So you report it in Knowledge Hub as well, how you do this merge, how you map this terminology?
No, not explicitly. I don't know if the GEO Knowledge Hub developers have any plans for controlled vocabularies. I don't know, for the future, for example, regarding adopt some control vocabularies from elsewhere in order to have a more uniform. But the EO toolkit, no.
Yeah, thanks. So we have done that with other categories of the metadata, like the engagement priorities and so on. And this is definitely something we can do. Of course, there are so many different applications and end users that this could be an extensive list, but we are very open to that. Thanks. Joost, and then you.
Hello. Okay. Thanks for your presentation. First of all, I actually would have a question to Paula or the people from the Knowledge Hub. Paula mentioned that people can become a knowledge provider, but I think it should be the other way around. I mean, we have already the knowledge providers, actually. The scientists are the knowledge providers, and they do not just become a knowledge provider, in my opinion. They do already exist. So I think the task of the Knowledge Hub is to ensure that you consider the knowledge providers which are out there, and not that you become like that, a knowledge provider. So as
I fully agree with you, Joost.
Sorry, Paula. What I already mentioned in the GEOS platform, we already do connect with different knowledge providers. Actually, we connect with Zenodo, we connect with Wikipedia, we connect with the GEOS Knowledge Hub. And like that, I think a tool like the GEOS Knowledge Hub should connect with any knowledge provider, and of course can work on, let me call it, interoperability standards to ensure the reproducibility, the replicability, the reusability. But it shall not be that, let's say, someone should become a knowledge provider to ensure that the knowledge can be, let's say, in a Knowledge Hub. Not at all.
Yeah, thanks. So maybe, Paul, I see your hand up, but I'll just answer quickly. So we are working based on the needs of the work program activities. They come to us, we go to them when needed to share what they want to share, what they need to share. Paula?
Yes, so indeed, Joost is not that only people who are coming to the Geo Knowledge Hub become knowledge provider. They are already knowledge providers. I fully agree with you on this way of addressing. Sorry for being wrong in the description how I put it in the during my speech. Indeed, the importance of having this dedicated relation with the knowledge providers or existing knowledge providers, the authoritative owners of the different applications who are residing in the GEO work program activities as a first circle of knowledge providers we are addressing, is very important because we want to make sure, again, this curation part. And so indeed, the Invenio RDM has APIs. It can connect with the other sources, but as a first choice, we want to make sure that we address the needs of the GEO community, because we do not have a place where we can show all the applications that the GEO work program activities are developing to respond to the different problematics. And so this is really important. So the curation, again, it's a critical component. And the other part that we really want to enhance is the possibility for any users to get in touch with the knowledge provided through the different functionalities that Felipe showed with like us, the provider. And so we enhance the human and the knowledge provider interoperability so that the user can also have a service to whom to go if he or she has a problem to replicate, reuse that specific application.
Thank you very much. Last question from Nancy.
Okay, yeah, so back to Orestes. The Human Settlement Toolkit, as I understand it, is on the UN Habitat website, right? And now you've put the information into the Geo Knowledge Hub. What I'm interested in is how you could track use. And are they tracking use the same way or a different way? Do people have to register? So how can you know use? And is it different between the two different ways of providing the information?
Thank you for the question. Both the toolkit and the Geo Knowledge Hub point to the right direction. So, for example, the global human settlement layer, which is one, it has its own website. You can find it right now under JRC. So, in my mind, the toolkit curates whatever information is in there. First, curates. If it needs to curate more, because one provider may not be so, maybe more on the technical side, so he or she doesn't curate things. So the toolkit and the Geo Knowledge Hub curate this information or curate it more. And secondly, create different opportunities for unknown users to find this information. And no, there is no usage statistics regarding the EO toolkit. I'm not sure about the Geo Knowledge Hub, but regarding the toolkit, no.
Yeah, we can do that in the Geo Knowledge Hub. It's in the pipeline of development, yes. Like Zenodo, it shows some statistics. Okay. It's based on the same software. Okay, thank you very much. We're a bit running late, but this was a great discussion. We're very happy to continue discussing after that session or online. Paula has provided some links and also something important. The GEO Knowledge Hub is fully open source and you can find all the source code on GitHub. It's available to everyone. I encourage you to have a look and please get in touch with us if needed. Thank you very much to all of our speakers. Very interesting presentations and good discussion. I would like to thank also the audience, both online and in person, and I hope we can continue this dialogue very soon. Thank you very much. So I'm told we need to do a group picture. Where do we, because we're a lot in that room. Okay, so please, people online, can you, okay, recording stop. You can show yourselves now. Can you turn on the cameras, please? We'll do a group picture, please. So, Rui, where do we go? Here? Okay, in front of the screen, but not too much because then we don't see the audience. Please, everybody, don't be shy, don't be shy. Okay, it will be challenging because we're a lot of people in the, yes, people, please. Igor, Orestes, please. I don't have to call everybody by their name, I hope. Tall people behind, yeah, yeah, let's, okay. Very gallant Joost. Yeah, okay. This will be very flashy colors on the screen, on the people's face. So hopefully you can capture everybody. You got a wide angle? Okay. Thank you very much, and see you sooner or later, hopefully sooner.
Enjoy the evening and the drinks.
Bye-bye, thank you.
I
Bye.
don't think there are official drinks tonight. We'll see. We have to make plans. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Paula. Ciao. They should make sure.